Hello, this is the recorded lecture for Chapter 7, Information Technology and Surgery, and this is not my joke, so the cutting edge, I think it's really interesting, somebody that says humor. And Information Technology for the health professionals is what we're looking at. And so we're going to look at how information technology has changed the phase of surgery. We saw that before. We looked at how radiology and the gamma knives were eliminating or helping to help surgery be more focused. So there's a nice multimedia directory in a slide. I'm sorry, what is this? It's kind of weird, isn't it? Huh. There's a multimedia slide in a video, if you will. I can't show on this, but I do show in my face-to-face classes. And I thought I took that out, but I apologize. So computer-assisted surgery is surgical planning is a virtual reality environment where a person can not be in the room or be in the room and look at the surgery not directly at the patient but through a visual display. And the virtual environments help teach and plan surgery so they can be in two ways. It helps also with minimally invasive surgery, so we're not doing major surgery but a minimal level surgery. A type of computer-assisted surgery called Minerva. It uses what's called that stereotactic neurosurgery that we've talked about before. And then we also have Hermes, which is an FDA-cleared system software that connects operating hardware into a voice-controlled network. So we have these methodologies, these techniques that help us do that. Now with minimally invasive surgery, for instance, endoscope projects projects an image of the surgical site into a monitor. So what happens is, for instance, for an endoscope, doctor takes a tube, puts it down the esophagus into the stomach of a patient, and takes pictures as they're going down. But they get a visual as they go down. It's not like a camera, but more like a video. And they're able to identify small tumors. They can identify lacerations they can correct. It's less pain and shorter recovery time, and instead of doing major surgery. So it's minimally invasive surgery is like colonoscopy, for instance, where they go up through the rectum and the colon to look for cancer. And as bad as people don't like them, it doesn't require a lot of the other techniques they used to use, which were far more painful, and it allows them a much better look at what they're seeing, and if they identify a tumor or nodule, they can take a sample of that nodule and determine whether it's precancer or not. This is a look at a minimally invasive surgery here. We have the tube and all that, and then we're looking inside. Now, surgeon sees image on the monitor in minimally invasive surgery, and so MIS is an image directed. So it's minimally invasive heart surgery is now in clinical trials at 40 sites in the United States and probably even being implemented in some sites. Endoluminal surgery is done through natural orifices, so they can go in through the rectum or through the mouth or through the nose to do surgery that way. Minimally invasive heart surgery and minimally invasive heart surgery can be used for valve replacement. What happens, the catheter is inserted into the femoral artery in the interior of the leg, the medial part of the leg, groin area, and then the probe is then brought up to the femoral artery and back to the heart, if you will, and follows back up to the heart, and that is able to thread through the blood vessels, the aortic valve, using some X-ray guidance, if you will, and that allows the surgeon to implant that, and expands and becomes an entirely new gateway. So in Europe, the core valve has been approved. 15,000 people have had the surgery. So what it does is it enlarges a certain area so that it threads this heart material from a pig. It's threaded through the blood vessel, and then it's inserted so it can replace or improve the damaged heart. This is an instrument used in minimally invasive surgery, and you can see that there are probes that are inserted through the holes there. Now we also have robots, strangely enough, that are used to hold the endoscopes, and they're able to decide if the tissue is normal, and so robots can sense that whether the tissue is normal or abnormal. Now RoboDoc helps us with hip replacements. And ESOP is the first FDA-cleared surgical robot that actually holds the endoscope. So we're starting to see more technology in the delivery of care. Zeus is a minimally invasive microsurgery, and Da Vinci is a minimally invasive heart repair, including mitral valve repairs, which can be done through robot technology. Now, Da Vinci in 2009 in the U.S., 86% of prostate surgeries were performed using Da Vinci. And according to the study of Medicare patients, it did lead to fewer complications in the hospital, but had worse results for impotence and incontinence. So it lowered the hospitalization, but it may have the other effects of impotence and incontinence. And incontinence means unable to hold the urine. In October 2010, Da Vinci performed the first all-robotic surgery in Canada. So we're starting to see some improvements in that. Yes, there's some issues we have to talk about, but we're starting to see improvements in that process. This is a figure showing 2 surgeon consoles and a patient care and a vision cart. So the surgeon's doing the surgery here, and the robot is doing the work here. This is Dr. Renata Bastos Ford on the left with Dr. Chitwood and Dr. Chayanian, and I won't even try to say that name in the operating room. And this is really what we're looking at is a robotic surgery process. This is another look at the robotic surgery process. Now, Da Vinci valve surgery, there's a video, and if you download this download this, you can see that video. I can't show it at this point in time using the Blackboard Collaborate, but you can download the PowerPoint, and you can then take a look at that. We have neural arm robots that are developed at the University of Calgary in Canada, and then like other surgical robots, it can operate in an MRI, so we can do this surgery in an MRI. Its arms can be moved 50 microns at a time, a microscopic scale. Microns are so tiny. These tiny steady movements make it safer to operate in the human brain, so we can robotically do surgery on the brain proper. We also have Spine Assist. It's a robot that can be clamped on a patient's back, and doctors take a picture of where the spine surgery will take place, and the computer plans the robot's path. So we can even start to predict how we're going to go forward. The robot creates a 3-dimensional map of the patient's spine. Following the path, the Spine Assist actually drills in the patient's vertebrae, and to date is successfully completed about 2,000 surgeries, probably more at this date. Now, we talk about augmented reality, and that augmented reality makes use of computer-generated imagery to provide the surgeon with information otherwise they wouldn't be able to see. The computer-generated images may either be fused with the image on the monitor or projected directly onto the patient's body during the operation, and allows the doctor to virtually see inside the patient. And what that does is it lets the doctor maybe see abnormalities in the anatomy of a patient, and so they have less misadventures. I like this caveman, C-A-V-E man, is a 4-dimensional computer image which includes length, width, height, and time, and it can cover 3,000 body parts. So images can be displayed on the body. It can help surgeries and educate patients as we go. So it's a pretty interesting mechanism. Telepresence surgery is for distance surgery, which means they can perform surgery robotically from anywhere else but the site in the same brick and mortar. They did a gallbladder in 2001, a prostate cancer in 2002, and they corrected acid reflux, which would be a hiatal hernia, in 2003. NEMO, which is a NASA Extreme Environment Mission Operation. NEMO is a series of NASA missions in which groups of scientists live in Aquarius, it's called. Aquarius is the only undersea lab in the world, and it's 13 feet wide and 45 feet long with approximately 400 square feet of space for living and laboratory activities. And NEMO 7 and 9 included doctors but no surgeons. The major purpose of the project is to enable astronauts to be operated on in space from Earth using wireless technology and robotics. So one of NEMO 7's goals was to see whether doctors with no training in surgical techniques could successfully perform surgery with the help of telemetry and telerobotics. So basically, what would happen is that a surgeon who didn't have a skill in that surgery could perform that surgery based on another doctor with that skill overseeing what was going on and having robotic control or some robotic control of that surgery. NEMO 9 succeeded in assembling a surgical robot and completed surgeries controlled by a doctor in Canada. NEMO 12's crew conducted advanced medical experiments using robotic telesurgery. So the idea of a doctor sitting in one location and providing surgery to multiple locations robotically is not very far off. And when you think about the limitations that people have to access to care, imagine that happening, that ability to happen. We could send a module to different parts of the world, the country, wherever, and that module would put the patient in the module, and then prep them, and the robot, we hook them up, and then the doctor conducts the surgery robotically. Pretty interesting. Now, NEMO 14, completed in May of 2011, did not include surgeries, but did stimulate the transfer of an incapacitated astronaut from the ocean floor to the deck of the craft, a maneuver that might need to accompany surgery in the future. So those are some of the techniques we're learning as we go forward. Now, training for NEMO 12, an astronaut or an aquanaut uses a still camera to photograph plants in the undersea habitat for the 12th NEMO mission. So we're starting to see that effect as we move forward. Now, Raven is a two-armed remotely controlled surgical robot at the University of Washington, and is photographed inside the undersea habitat for the 12th NEMO mission. And so it's kind of an interesting piece of equipment. And there you see that the Raven proper. Raven because of the wings, I guess. In the operating room of the future, images from all sources will be available to surgeons and other personnel. So instead of when a surgeon only sees what they show in the surgery, they may have displays on 4 screens that show integrated patient information in an easy to understand format in one location. So they may see the MRI, they can see the ultrasound, they can see the imaging of that, the PET image, if you will. They can see all of that while they're doing the surgery. Now, information is displayed includes patients' vital signs, statistics, allergies, the whereabouts of the OR personnel. Personnel, including doctors, are identified and tracked with these radio tags, radio frequency tags. And the OR of the future makes 3-dimensional real-time images available in surgery, which links to the PACS system, the radiology system, within the operating room, which would really improve the quality of healthcare. Now, we talk about lasers in surgery. We're really talking about light amplification by a stimulated emission of radiation. And obviously, we've seen lasers in all sorts of movies, but they can cut and vaporize tumors. They can seal small blood vessels, and a beam can be narrowed to a size of a few cells to just kill kill a couple, 3 cells, if you will, at the time. We use lasers now in gynecology, orthopedics, urology, ear, nose, and throat, cardiovascular, gastroenterology, dermatology, and ophthalmology. And we use them in all those techniques. Here's a look at using a laser knife, if you will. So instead of using a scalpel, we use a laser to make the cut. Lasers in surgery are used to prevent blood loss, so we can seal off blood vessels. They can slow the spread of tumors by killing a tumor through a laser. They reduce pain because we don't have to use surgery, we just do the laser. They remove some brain and liver tumors. They eliminate clots from stroke, so we can send a probe into the blood vessel and use the laser to burn away the clot. We can dissolve plaques and arteries in the same technique we did before. We said above. We send a probe through an artery, and we use the laser to burn away the plaque. And we can treat and cure early-stage mouth and throat cancers, leaving the voice intact. So we can kill the cancer, but not have to affect the vocal cords. So LASIK is something that's been used for several decades. It uses lasers to correct vision by changing the shape of the cornea. What they do is a computer programs what needs to be done to improve the vision, and then what happens is they slice off the top of the cornea. That sounds terrible, and they leave a little flaps, which just kind of hangs there, and then the laser reconfigures the cornea, and then the cornea is put back on. The top of the cornea is put back on, and it seals up in just 24 hours. And so what that does is improves the vision. And LASIK is becoming the #1 treatment for vision problems across the nation. Still very expensive, about $2,000 an eye, I think is the last number I saw, and even higher for more complex surgeries. So we have nanotechnology. Nanotechnology, it works with objects on a scale of atoms and molecules, and a nanometer is 1/billionth of a meter, or 1/75,000th of a human hair. So the world's largest carbon material is a multi-walled carbon nanotube, MCNT aerogel, which has been created. It can be used to improve robotic surgery. So surgery is done with these little nanobites, if you will, nano elements that go in and sort of like little tiny elements start to do the surgery for us. In the future, nanotechnology may help in cancer surgeries because nanoparticles that can bind to cancer cells are injected in the body, and special scanning equipment can be used to identify every cell involved in the cancer, which can then be removed. So we're doing surgery on the cancer without killing the tissue around the cancer. Pretty interesting stuff. Research is also being done on the use of nanomaterials in orthopedic surgery in enhancing the cell response selectively for biological tissue integration, increasing the strength and wear resistance of current orthopedic materials. So nanotechnology is playing an important part even in that. Researchers in Germany, and I believe it's Mainz, Germany, which is where the University Stadt for Medical University is, have found that certain types of lasers are capable of reaching pulse energies that will allow modifications of living cells, making accurately controlled incisions into a cell, not tissue, but into a cell. So we can cut into a single cell. A laser can be used as a scalpel to operate on one single cell. Now, I keep saying that because it's spectacular when you think about it, how absolutely extraordinary that is, and they have done that already at Mainz, Germany. In conclusion, the use of augmented images to teach surgeons and plan and guide operations can reduce unnecessary cutting and make operations more precise and less invasive. But as we saw with the use of using a prostate surgery, the outcomes aren't always better, but usually they are. And MIS is less invasive and minimizes hospital stays and recovery time, but again, could have other less optimal results. This concludes the chapter. Thank you very much.